Las Vegas.
$100 million in my hands. I'm making what I do. I'm making money plans. I'm making money plans. I'm making money plans.
Fires to him. Touchdown. Jackpot, baby.
$100 million in my hands. I'm making what I do. I'm making money plans.
Best division in football right now.
It's not just one group. I mean, it's all of us making sure that we're all on the same page so we can execute at the high level.
The Raiders have gone all in this offseason. Today marked the Silver and Black's latest move, signing Hunter Renfrow to a 2-year, $32 million extension. So far this offseason, the Raiders have extended Derek Carr, newly acquired wide receiver Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, plus Max Crosby. They also signed Chandler Jones for north of $50 million in free agency. However, despite all those moves, ESPN's Football Power Index still gives them the lowest chance to win the best division in football, that of course being the AFC West. What's going on this Friday? It is NFL Live. I am Field Yates, and right here next to me is Dan Graziano. Good to have all of you with us here today. And up here on the screen, left and right, Rob Ninkovich and Louis Riddick. So, Nink, Raiders are clearly all in this offseason. Are you all in on this team?
I am all in on this team, and I think that the index is completely wrong when they say they're going to be in last place in that division. So hear me out on this. They spend a lot of money. They keep a lot of guys in-house. So they keep Carr. Josh McDaniels is new to this team, but he is an offensive mind. He is a guru. So you think back when he was the offensive coordinator with the Patriots, he had Wes Welker. Then he had Julian Edelman. Now he has Renfrow and Adams. So with this offense, we understand that Carr is the guy. They paid him the money. And with that, I really think that this offense, and then on top of it, they're going to have the best pass rushing duo in the NFL. Chandler Jones leads and set the sack record for the Arizona team. And I'm listening out. Like Max Crosby right now has all the tools to be probably one of the top pass rushers, the sack leader in the NFL, because he is that good. So they're going to have the defense. They're going to have the offense. They are stacked offensively. So I really think that this football team, I know it's a tough division, but they could easily win this division, easily.
Yeah, look, man, I expect Josh McDaniels to absolutely knock this job out of the park. Knowing him like I do, having talked to him like I have, and listened to him talk about the X and O part of the game, the player development part of the game, the relationship management part of the game, he's ready to rock and roll, and he is the key. He's the key to everything getting off the ground and running smoothly right from the get-go, because he comes from one of the best schools, football schools, really in the history of the NFL in terms of what Bill Belichick knows about building programs. So I expect him to have this team going. As much as we talk about the offense, as much as we talk about Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, and how this offense should be explosive, particularly on the perimeter, look, I'll tell you this, Rob, I'm with you. The defensive side is really what will allow them to compete in the AFC West in particular against these explosive quarterbacks. Look, I was out at the Pass Rush Summit, Von Miller's Pass Rush Summit out in Las Vegas. 6 years going now, 6 years going strong here. And Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, that's Chandler Jones on the screen here, were two of the participants. Max Crosby and Chandler both presented to the entire forum. And people were dialed into what these two really had to say. One, because of what Max did last year. Max called his shot last year in Las Vegas. He said he was going to have the best season of his career. He said his life depended on it. He said his career depended on it, and he did exactly that. Look, Rob, you mentioned it. Chandler Jones is the all-time leading sacker in the history of the Arizona Cardinals. And when he talked out there, people wanted to listen because he can be so unorthodox with the way he rushes the passer. People were like, how do you do that? And it was such a cool experience to see those two at that summit. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, these two are going to raise hell this year. They're going to be a problem. You better have some offensive tackles when you go up against the Las Vegas Raiders, because they are coming for your quarterback, man. They got two of the very best in the business.
Yeah, I like where the Raiders sit, Field. I mean, like, they won 10 games, right? They made the playoffs. They were already good. And I know how excited everybody is, and for good reason, about Denver getting Russell Wilson. And I know how excited everybody is, and for good reason, about what Justin Herbert can do. Fact of the matter is, those two teams have to pass the Raiders, who didn't really lose people of significance and added some people of significance. So I like what they're doing in terms of bringing guys in from the outside. I like what they're doing in terms of signing their own guys, right? Carr, Renfro, Max Crosby. I think they'll do something with Darren Waller, or at least they'll try to do that before the season starts. So yeah, I think they're in a good spot. I mean, offensive line concerns aren't to be dismissed.
Yeah.
But I think with Josh McDaniels bringing a new offense in there, it's possible they can mitigate that.
I want to remind people of this perpetually. We can love the process of all four of these teams this offseason. We're probably not going to love the result of at least one of these teams at the end of the regular season, when one of them might be 8-9 and out of the playoffs because the AFC is just that good. But for now, plenty of excitement, and certainly a focal point for that excitement in Las Vegas is the new look offense with Davante Adams. And since he arrived in Vegas, a lot of questions have been raised. Why'd you leave Green Bay in the first place? He answered that emphatically on Thursday.
Where I'm in my career, you know, and this isn't a shot at anybody, any other quarterbacks or, you know, in Green Bay. You know, I love Jordan Love, especially. He's a great guy, but, you know, I got aspirations of doing really, really big things and being remembered. And I just, you know, it wasn't really a point in my career that I was willing to sacrifice, you know, Aaron not being there, you know, after a year or two.
What are some of the maybe subtle similarities or differences between Rodgers and Carr, since you've worked with both of them for so many years?
As far as talent and ability, I mean, it's really similar if I'm keeping it real. Derek picked up where we left off, and, you know, we both are so committed and obsessive over our craft. When you got two dudes that have worked together and already built up a lot of camaraderie and, you know, have a close friendship, I feel like that makes it so much easier kind of getting back and gelling, you know, the way you were before.
All right, Louis, a lot to unpack there, including a quote that basically compares Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr, excuse me. They're a couple Carr brothers. Hard to keep up with them sometimes, but compares them, and pretty favorably for Derek Carr. But could Rodgers and the Packers, you think, have done more to keep Davante Adams in Green Bay based off how we answered that question?
No, I don't think so. And you know what? I'm cool with that. As a matter of fact, I like that. I like the fact that, you know, one of the things that I preach all the time, Field, and that we've talked about, you know, both privately and on air, about relationships and how much building them, managing them, growing them is really one of the things that gives you a competitive advantage in the NFL. If you have a healthy situation in that way, is something that Davante valued, man. And that wasn't to say he didn't value and or have a good relationship with Aaron Rodgers, but he said, one, I basically don't know how much longer he's going to be here, and I don't want to sacrifice the rest of my career in the event that he's not there. You know, and I think what he's alluding to is the fact that I may have substandard quarterback play and have it affect my career. And two, I have a guy out here in Vegas that's my boy, that I played with in college, that I know very well, that I expect us to be able to hit the ground running in a system that really is going to be tailor-made for both of us. I mean, look, I was a pretty good receiver in college. Derek was a pretty good quarterback in college. We had nice chemistry there. We're going to have nice chemistry out here in Las Vegas because we're both much better. Read some of the scouting reports on Davante Adams from the time he was in Fresno to where he is now. Read some of the scouting reports on Derek Carr from the time he was at Fresno to where they are now. They're both light years ahead of that, and now they get to play together and be happy together and probably play, who knows, 4, 5, 6 years more together. That's a beautiful thing, man. I think you're going to see that trend start to really ramp up in the NFL like it is in the NBA. Guys want to get together and play with one another because relationships, I think, is one of those areas that it's not exploited enough and not utilized enough in terms of allowing it to give you a competitive advantage. And I think we're going to see that starting to change. Stars are starting to align, you could say. So, Ninko, everything really good right now in Las Vegas. How about on the other side of this coin? What's your level of concern about the Packers offense without Davante Adams?
I mean, it's high. You have to think in clutch moments when you're in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, every play, usually when it's a huge one, is going to that number one guy, that big guy. And when you're game planning against those teams, you have to take away the biggest target. So now Green Bay, they don't have that target, roughly 30% of what their offense was last year. So everyone's talking, oh, the ball will be spread around more now and other people will have opportunities. I don't believe that. I mean, you think about when you have a talent on the field like Adams, other people are going to benefit from that. So now he's not on the field. Who else is going to step up? And listen, I know they have some young guys. They drafted a couple guys, but in my day, when I was on the team and they drafted somebody, especially in my position, I was like, it's going to take a couple of years for this guy to get it, to be up to where I'm at. So they're going to have to come in and they're going to have to play at a high level. And look at Adams, for example, his rookie year. He didn't catch 100 balls. And these guys that are coming in, they're going to have such high expectations to play at such a high level for Green Bay, to play at a level that really, as a rookie, you want to learn from a veteran. You want to see a guy like Adams and how he performs and how he prepares himself. So it's going to be tough for Green Bay. I don't think that they're going to have the firepower that everyone expects them to have just because Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma, isn't it, Rob? I mean, you would expect, based off of history and based off of the past, that you're going to have to allow for time for young players to ramp it up. They don't have time, man, because they are. Look, one, Devontae said one of the reasons why he got out of there is like, I don't know how much longer the quarterback's going to be here. So who knows if Aaron's not going to want to play with a bunch of guys who can't get the job done. So now the pressure and the onus is on them. They have to pick it up right now, and they better take advantage of the fact that these guys are playing in offenses in college that now translate to the NFL much more quickly. And I'll tell you what, Matt LaFleur better figure out a way to get it going, because they can't just run the ball every snap. They can't. I mean, as good as their running game is going to be, they're going to have to put it up if they're going to want to beat like that team down there in Tampa or the team out in L.A. They're going to have to be able to compete with those guys through the air, that being the Buccaneers and the Rams, just in case people thought I forgot what they were.
And they do love their running backs. Obviously, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And LaFleur coming from that Shanahan system, everything works off the running game. The passing game works off the running game. So it'll start there. But I don't think the Packers are trying to kid us about what they have at receiver. I think they're, they know there are a lot of what-ifs there. Like the young guy Watson, they're talking up Sammy Watkins the other day.
Sure.
We don't know what he's going to bring them. So I think it'll be a work in progress. But I definitely get the sense from people there that there's an aspect of, we're paying our quarterback $50 million a year. He should be a kind of guy that helps make these other guys better. And I think they're relying on that a lot, too.
I also think they're mindful of the fact they have a very good defense on paper. Special teams should be a little tidier this year, and that division might be one where you kind of have a little bit of breathing room, because I know Minnesota making some noise, but Detroit probably a couple years away, and same goes for Chicago. We are just getting started here on NFL Live. And up next, Dan's going to update us on the latest for Jimmy Garoppolo and Baker Mayfield.